The thing is, we hate snitches, so...
Is this nigga serious?
Hey, do you guys remember that movie Sucker Punch? When trying to find some footage for this video, I was happy to discover that people are still talking about it. I thought I was crazy trying to make this video and going so in depth with an analysis, but it turns out this movie has a bit of a cult following. Going into this, I feel a lot better, so if you haven't seen this film, or you've watched it but didn't think much of it, I hope by the end of this you'll see it in a new light and pick up on some things for your next viewing. I'll be explaining why this movie isn't just babes and bullets, why it's deeper than that, and how looking at this movie critically helped me justify my enjoyment of the film. I'm here for the plot, I swear. This movie isn't a guilty pleasure with a bit of empathy and understanding. And with all that being said, all aboard the Blue Dragoon.
Ladies and gentlemen, here we go again. Here we go again. Ladies and gentlemen, here we go again. Here we go again.
This is Tom from Tsunami. You're listening to Sin 7.
Sucker Punch has a complex premise and was director Zack Snyder's first film to feature an original concept. You've probably heard of Zack Snyder from other films he directed like 300, Watchmen, and a few of the DC movies like Man of Steel and Batman vs. Superman. DC can also stand for dookie crap, I guess. Sucker Punch takes place in the 1960s and follows the story of our main character, Baby Doll. Baby Doll's mom dies and her abusive father ends up attacking Baby Doll in a drunken fit of rage. She attacks him and he decides to go after the younger sister instead. She tries to shoot him, but her younger sister is already dead as Baby Doll has accidentally hurt her. The cops come and they take her straight to the crazy house. Keep in mind, the father doesn't want anyone knowing what went on in that house. The Lennox house for the mentally insane isn't actually what it's made out to be. It's a much darker, disgusting place. This is a guise for a brothel. The girls that are in there have to dance and God knows what else for the high-paying customers who keep the lights on in that shindig. The asylum psychiatrist, Dr. Vera Gorski, teaches the girls the dances and orchestrates them while the head honcho, Blue, runs the asylum, handles the customers, and also the poor girls that are stuck there. As soon as Baby Doll gets there, she says,
No sir, not me.
And takes note of some of the items she can use to create an escape. She then befriends a few of the other girls, Amber, Blondie, and the two sisters, Rocket and Sweet Pea. Sweet Pea being the star of the show. She then decides to involve them in the plan. While Sweet Pea isn't having it at first, her sister Rocket persuades her to join the cause, as any hope of something better is a good one. The plan is, while Baby Doll does her dance and distracts the customers and Blue, the other girls will be going to obtain the items they need to use to escape. Now, you never see the dance that Baby Doll does. Sweet Pea explains that it's sexual and that she's gyrating and moaning, but you never see it. I believe it's because she's trying to get her freedom from this place, so they aren't going to show you what she has to do as a slave. You see her own world, where her and her friends get to be strong and powerful. It desexualizes them and shows that what she's doing is a means to an end. Her head and heart aren't in it. She's literally in a whole nother world, and it's established that she will fight for whatever she needs. She will do whatever it takes. She comes into the asylum a bit scared, but after her first dance, begins to speak up, and the first thing she says is how they're getting out of there, despite Sweet Pea saying that she can't. This girl shot at her stepdad at the beginning of the movie, which landed her in this place, but even then she didn't back down. There was even an instance where Baby Doll rose up and defended Rocket from the cook in the asylum. She is as strong in real life as she is in the dream sequences, but her real life limitations are holding her back. If that doesn't prove how strong she is below face value, then I'm not sure what does, but either way, we're not that far into the movie yet, so let's continue. The items she's told to get by the wise man in her dream sequence are the same items she takes note of when she enters the asylum. A map, fire, a knife, a key, and an unrevealed item that requires a quote, big sacrifice. These items are the key to her freedom, and what she does in her dream world ties into the real world, and what she's actually doing. On a side note, at certain parts of these sequences in the film, it's cool that you can hear the Sweet Dreams notes in other songs and background music, Sweet Dreams being the main theme song of this movie. Emily Browning, who is the actress that plays Baby Doll, actually did a cover of the song for the film, and it slaps, boy. The whole soundtrack slaps, to be honest, and each sequence is accompanied by good music. Trust me, I'm a musician. As Baby Doll starts getting more comfortable and talking more in the film, after being kinda timid and quiet, we see just how much she is on go. She knows her strengths and exactly what she's doing. When Sweet Pea says that they could die trying to do the scheme that Baby Doll has going on, Rocket says that they're already dead. That's some deep shit, man. Shit, I'd be ready to do what I gotta do in that situation. Baby Doll brings them a newfound hope that they can get some type of power back from what's been taken from them. Again, there's an overarching theme of regaining lost power that y'all should be paying attention to. Alright, second dream sequence. These sequences always start with a beautiful music transition, which I like. Every time Baby Doll starts dancing, we find her in a different action sequence. Different setting, different objective, different enemies, etc. Since the girls decided to join her crawls in real life, they now join her in the dream sequences as well. The action sequences do serve a narrative purpose, but realistically, it's just a cool way of showing what's going on in the real life story without watching these girls sneak around on their tippy toes trying to steal stuff. They're fine to me. I don't think they take away from the pacing of the film, and the second happens shortly after the first, so once the movie gets going, it really goes. Now, the wise man who pops up in the beginning of each sequence is basically here for exposition. He's okay, I don't have an issue with him. He says these odd one-liners which are just so weird.
Remember, don't ever write a check with your mouth. You can't cash with your ass.
I don't know what that's all about. He's mainly there to explain what they're doing in the sequence, but also, if you listen, he's explaining what they're doing in real life, albeit super exaggerated to fit the dream sequence, which makes sense. You can't have them explain it, so someone had to do it. Not a real issue, just not overly clever. This is a Zack Snyder film, so of course it finds many ways to be drab and dreary, not only in the second sequence, but a lot of the film. So in this sequence, Chi-Chi from the shit stain that is Dragon Ball Evolution is piloting the prototype for the Diva from Overwatch, while High School Musical is lighting these zombies up Call of Duty style. Now, we know the sequences are only Baby Doll's imagination while she dances, but at the same time, she imagines all the other girls to be this strong. I don't think that part is imaginary because they're helping her with the plan to escape, so even if they can't imagine this fantasy world, there's a reason they're a part of it, and they're all strong in their own way for even being a part of the plan. There is an awesome musical track behind the blimp being blown up. This movie's music slaps. You gotta take my word for it. The second dream sequence ends and the girls have obtained the map. After Baby Doll finishes dancing and the sequence ends, we see Blue having a conversation with Dr. Gorski. Blue wants Baby Doll to do a private dance for the mayor to kind of schmooze him and get in his good graces, but Vera declines because Baby Doll isn't ready in her opinion. Blue persists, and Vera continually proceeds to decline, so Blue makes it clear that while the show belongs to Vera, Vera and the other girls themselves belong to Blue. He even makes a small threat to remind her if need be. Not even the woman that has the power over the show has any power. None of these women have power in their current state, and that leads into where I believe a criticism of this movie comes from, that there's no characters. There's no need for characters in Sucker Punch because it isn't about the individuals, because they're all in the same situation. No matter what their backstories are, all we know is they ended up in this place and they have to get free. So instead of spending time trying to explain each girl's situation individually or how they got there, the movie knows you understand the situation they're in. It doesn't establish the characters, the place they're in is the character, and the film tells you everything you need to know about where they are, so you know exactly why they wouldn't want to be there. Even Vera herself isn't safe from this treatment. You care about them not on an individual level, but with the thought in your mind that one would not enjoy being in that situation. Of course they'd want to be free. They're all in it together, so together they are one big character. You're not invested in the characters per se, you're invested in their freedom from the fact that you don't even really know who they are. You see how they're treated and know you wouldn't want to be treated that way. You root for them not because of their personal motivations or drives, but through empathy and sheer hope that someone in a terrible situation gets through. But it isn't completely void of characterization or backstory. Rocket explains a little bit of her backstory here briefly. She ran away from home, her sister followed, and they ended up there, so it's not non-existent, just not super duper in depth. No sequences like baby dolls in the beginning of the movie for every girl or anything like that. Blue finds that things have been tampered with. This is the part where he notices. Then directly after this, they prepare for the dance for the mayor. This is the quest to get the fire, aka the mayor's lighter. The mayor entering is hilarious, but exactly how it should be, as he's the big dog who's full of himself, so it's kind of like, it kind of has to be like this. The guy's a doofus. Baby doll begins her dance, and another sequence comes up. Again, pacing is great. We're not waiting forever for it, so it doesn't seem like we are. As soon as they came up with a plan to escape, the ball rolls and rolls. Also, you may notice an obvious theme here. They go to get a map, the sequence is about a map. They go to get fire, they're surrounded by fire, there's a fire-breathing dragon, etc. Just more parallels to what's going on in the real world, so the sequences aren't senseless or unrelated. No matter what the perception of the sequences are, I commend the creativity in adding flavor and imagination to an otherwise straightforward movie without it. Without these sequences, the girls want the stuff, they tell you how they're going to do it before the sequence starts, and then they do it. Without the sequences, it's kind of boring, so it's clear that the movie was made around the sequences. They're fun. It's action. Action is fun. They have the classic Snyder slow-mo and such. Not the greatest action sequences I've seen, pretty standard at times and sometimes weird looking, but fun is fun. They definitely don't suck, seeing as this is the main pull or appeal to the film, so if you're not into these parts, it may be a hard watch. I also like that there's a lot of practical effects. These goblins were guys in makeup, and so were the zombies earlier. This could have easily been a mess of CGI, but the practical effects are much appreciated. The CGI is okay when it's around, absolutely nothing to write home about. Like I said, there's stuff that looks weird, like the landing they do in this sequence and the samurai guys from the first sequence are a bit odd, but it isn't terrible by any means. The variety of these scenes comes from the girls being in different settings, but with the way Snyder colors his scenes with that drab tone, they kind of bleed into the next one, and the girls aren't doing anything different in each scene. The first scene looks the best for its bright white and blue, cool color lighting due to the snowy area. There's a bunch of bad guys, they shoot, slice, and stab them. That formula doesn't switch up too much. Doesn't mean they're not enjoyable, it just means that they don't feel as visually impressive or distinct after a while. On a side note, I love Rocket's hairstyle here. These little spiky things, so cool. Like when she shoots, it bounces, and I think that's funny. It's worth mentioning because someone on set probably gets paid to do that kind of stuff and design it, you know? Okay, now Baby Doll finishes the dance, dragon slain, fire obtained. Wonderful. The girls are optimistic at this point. They're doing it, and they're doing it as a team. That goes back to what I said, as them functioning as a big character rather than individuals. But Poe Dameron is onto them. We obviously know he's a filthy character because he runs this whole shindig, but this is where the movie reminds you of the reality of what's going on. This guy is not dumb, and in real life, they can't fight this normal guy. In Baby Doll's imagination, she can slay a whole dragon and fight armies, but here, she's powerless against his anger. This plan has to work, for all of their sakes. She can't run away from this. What a great contrast that further justifies the dream sequence while reminding the audience that, yeah, we just had fun, but hey, there's real stuff going on here. Don't forget. When Blue is in Baby Doll's face and she's smiling at him a little bit, oh man, that's her character right there. She's just as crazy as this guy, but like a fox. He knows he's making money off her, so he can't do anything. She knows this and knows that their plan for escape is going well so far, so she's not worried about him. Her head has never been trapped in this place. Just like with the dream sequences, she's smirking because she's been plotting on her freedom ever since stepping foot in the asylum. I love this standoff. It's a game of cat and mouse, but both parties think they're the cat. Rocket shows why she's the glue holding this together by not giving up. Aside from Baby Doll, Rocket has the most character. High School Musical and Chi-Chi are just here to go along with the plan. Sweet Pea is the quote-unquote leader, as someone had to be there before Baby Doll to not agree with her or there'd be no conflict, but Rocket is special. If no one was there to back up Baby Doll, then the movie would be over, and they're building up Rocket and her personality for a reason, but we'll get to that. Sweet Pea is sad that Rocket is choosing Baby Doll over her own sister, but I think it's deeper than that. Rocket isn't choosing Baby Doll per se, she's choosing the idea of freedom and hope over giving up. She doesn't like Baby Doll more than her sister, she wants out. When she tries to steal the chocolate, she showed that she was down to do whatever it took to get what she wanted. So again, this is why Rocket is probably the most fleshed out aside from Baby. Here we see how Blondie is affected. Plus, I don't know why her name is Blondie, she's not blonde at all. Like, she's not even an actual blonde, but whatever, it's no big deal. Baby Doll starts to doubt herself, and Rocket isn't having it, but Sweet Pea is actually the one who suggests getting back into it. Big character moment for her, so remember, whatever happens next is on her hands, as even Baby Doll, the originator of the plan, is ready to give up. This is where the Baby Doll magic dance thing gets a little funny. Like, she just stops working, strips, and starts the magical dance, instantly mesmerizing the cook. Chi-Chi runs in and sets up the radio super quick. Like, I don't know why this shit is so funny. Maybe it's a commentary on how men are easily distracted and hypnotized by a woman sexualizing herself. And also, that's why you never see the dance, because a man as an audience member might be distracted by it and only take that away from the film. But I'm really reaching for that one. Now it's Dream Sequence 4. Same yellow or dirty brown lighting as the last sequence, and that's what I mean by one bleeds into the next. Now here's something silly. How could a 1960s era woman be able to imagine robots so futuristic? I don't know, but hey, let me use my imagination just as she's doing. We had ancient samurai golems, World War II zombies, and even the diva mech thing was dingy and fit the vibe. Plus we had a medieval setting. All things based on the past. This being futuristic kind of takes away from that vibe and the theme, but I think it's shot very cool. Snyder really turned up the slow-mo, but I'm still enjoying it. Okay, so they screwed up and we got kicked out of the dream sequence. The wire to the radio shorted, so the music stopped, which made it happen in the sequence before it happened in real life. This causes Sweet Pea to get nabbed trying to steal the knife. The chef goes to stab Sweet Pea, but then Rocket takes the hit for her. But then, in a surprising turn of events, we head back to the sequence where Rocket is trying to sacrifice herself. This is symbolizing what's going on in real life, and I don't mind showing this. It gives our character, who was already a rebel, a cinematic send-off that couldn't happen back in reality. Then afterwards, you return and get the emotional one. She goes out like a champ while telling Sweet Pea that when she gets home to tell Mom she loves her, which is her way of saying don't give up on the plan. Blue comes in and antagonizes Sweet Pea for Rocket's death. He doesn't care that she's dead. He even tells the other girls to go get ready for the show to take her spot, like nothing even happened. He's so good in this role. This is exactly how I'd picture someone as evil as him to react. He makes them dance after this immediately after. Yo! Ah man, while the girls are broken, Blue goes into the dressing room and gives a filthy speech saying he gives them a good life. He refers to himself as their father and their lover, which is filthy on a whole new level. But if that wasn't enough, this nigga pulls out the blicky, hits Vera, and then they find out that Blondie snitched on them when he had walked in before. So he finds the plan, which I'm not gonna lie, wasn't well hidden, like at all. Literally just flipped the goddamn board over. And then he kills Amber right in front of them. We've lost 2 girls in 10 minutes, and it's not the fact that we lost them that hurts. Like I said, Amber wasn't even really developed, and Rocket had a bit of development, so you're not overly attached. It's just that the shock value works here. Blue didn't kill Rocket, but we didn't know he'd go this far. You think that it's over with Rocket, but no, he comes and shows them just how bad their situation is. Any of them can go at any time, and his power is absolute. He controls everything now, including whether they live or die. And since their whole plan is ruined, and 2 have lost their lives in such a short amount of time, it's really going to take a miracle to see this plan through. Their hope is crushed. Oh, and then he kills Blondie specifically for snitching. Hey, yo! Even the guy he came in with is looking at him like, is this nigga serious? Blue is beyond a monster and the perfect villain for this film. a hammer of cruel reality to a film filled with hope and fantasy. So good. But here's a bit of inconsistency. Blue gives a speech on how he feels like everyone gets a piece of Baby Doll except for him, so while he tries to force himself on her and she's fighting him, she grabs the knife under the table? Again, terrible hiding spot, but like, how did she succeed in getting the knife? They just got caught, and Rocket died because of it, so how did she get the knife? Either way, she shanks this man and robs his key. She tells him that he'll never have her, which is a pretty powerful statement we'll come back to. She goes to find Sweet Pea, having acquired 4 out of the 5 pieces of the plan, and says it's time to bounce. Since they're the only 2 left, they try to sneak out, and when they reach a dead end, Baby Doll has to think about what the 5th thing they needed to escape was. She comes to the conclusion that it's her. She sacrifices herself to make sure that Sweet Pea gets away. Sweet Pea has to live for all of them. I feel like this is a bit weird because she says this was never her story, it was Sweet Pea's. But if you think about it from Sweet Pea's perspective, it works. Sweet Pea is trapped in the brothel after running away from home with her sister Rocket. She lives there and tries to keep the girl safe, but when a new girl comes in and gets a lot of attention while trying to come up with this crazy plan, she shoots it down in an effort to continue to keep the girls and her sister safe in this dangerous environment. Her sister wants to be free, and she begrudgingly goes with the new girl's plan because her sister wants this so bad. Her sister dies as a consequence, and so do all her friends, but the new girl then allows her, and her alone, to escape so that her sister's and her friend's death were not in vain. When you look at it, it really is kind of Sweet Pea's story. I don't really mind this. It's weird because it's challenging me to come up with my own plot line for Sweet Pea and imagine what it looks like from her point of view. But hey, isn't this movie about a wild imagination? I'm just saying. Plus, it's a little symbolic that the one who didn't believe in the plan is the only one set free by it. So, Baby Doll has accepted her role here. She's finally doing what she wants to do on her own terms. There's a group of guys, and you think she's going to start dancing to distract them, but nope, she kicks the dude in the nuts. In this moment, she's truly free. She's not physically free, but emotionally and mentally, she isn't afraid. She knows she's about to get punched. She closes her eyes and takes it like a champ. They can't hurt her anymore. She's been through it all and will act like how she feels like acting. Sweet Pea actually makes it home. But what happens to Baby Doll, huh? What's her fate? Well, here's the thing. She wakes up in this weird place with this weird guy who says he isn't going to take her, but is speaking of looking for the truth. He has bought Baby Doll and wants her to show him who she really is. A real moment to have by her own free will. If she does, he will give her her freedom. She seems into it. And it's fake. Yeah, no, the guy's giving her a lobotomy. At the beginning of the film, that's what her dad had sent her to the asylum to have done, and he bribed Blue to do it. Do note that she has only been there for the span of a week, and it was supposed to have been done at the end of the week. Anyway, she got beat up, caught, and the guy doing the procedure is the guy from the quick dream sequence we just had. She had one last tiny bit of imagination before it was all taken away from her. All Baby Doll ever wanted was her free will and her freedom in general, but everything was taken from her, physically and mentally. Her mother, her sister, the friends she made, her body, and most importantly, above all else, her vivid imagination. The only place she could go to where she was in full control and in power. She was right. This was Sweet Pea's story. Sweet Pea got the happy ending. She got to go home. It was done, but not for Baby Doll. For those wondering, a lobotomy used to be a gruesome procedure used to quote-unquote treat mental illness. It involves an ice pick and a hammer, so it was not at all graceful. It's the 1960s in this film, so it makes sense that it's here because that shit don't fly today. After having this procedure performed, we find out that Blue is still alive after getting stabbed. The doctor is freaking out because he says that the look in her eyes was like she wanted him to perform the procedure, again, referencing back to the dream sequence. We also found out that the procedure was only done because Vera's signature was forged by Blue, also adding to the no free will theme of the film. Baby walks through the halls, unrecognizable, and ends up in the hands of Blue. Blue's henchmen are disgusted. They don't want to be a part of what he's doing to these women anymore, but he's not having it. Every man in this movie has been greedy or easily manipulated, so when Blue tells them to put her in the chair, they do it. At the end of the day, they're on the payroll, and he's in charge, so this is adding to that theme of greed, manipulation, and power. Blue wants more power, so he uses women as expendable objects and even refers to them as toys to get what he wants. Everyone in this film wanted more power in their own way. Vera wanted control over her own show, Baby Doll and the other girls wanted control over themselves, but there's always someone above you, even when you are at the top of the food chain, even Blue, because everything he did was an attempt to get into the elite circle. What a crazy concept. However, the concept gets even crazier. After the lobotomy, Baby Doll doesn't fight back against his advances anymore, and when he kisses her, he says that it's not right because she can't go unless he says she can go. But it doesn't matter anymore. She's already gone. Maybe that's why she wanted the doctor to perform the procedure on her, or at least had the look in her eyes. She told Blue that he will never have her, ever, and she was right. She is gone, and what he would have of her now would just be an empty shell. It isn't the real her, and he would never have her as she truly once was. Here we are thinking she lost power, but really, she gained it. And when she said what she said, she knew that no matter what happened, she was not wrong. And then the cops come and arrest him. Sweet justice. Now, why this couldn't have happened sooner is a bit of a plot hole because who knows what else he's done, but at the same time, it did take Baby Doll bringing them hope for them to take action. And hey, it happened, so I'll take it. They could have been scared of the consequences, so they stayed shut, but Vera snapped when she saw her signature forged and didn't want to be a part of this mess anymore, so she took it into her own hands for once. Hey, I'm fine with this. Nobody was on this guy's side anyway. And Vera also reclaimed her power in this moment as well. This is great. Whole lot of power shifting going on. They made it a point to not show Baby Doll's face until the last minute, and yeah, she's definitely gone. We see Sweet Pea getting on a bus to Fort Wayne, having escaped, and the police stop her to question her. The bus driver stops to defend her, and who is it? The wise man coming to save the day again, alright! How Baby Doll imagined this guy, I don't know, but it's not that deep. It's one of those movie magic kind of things. It's odd, but hey, it's a movie about imagination. Use it. The bus rides off into the sunset, and that's the end. The final line of the movie is, you have all the weapons you need, now fight. It's an inspirational way of saying whatever you need to have power over your own life is already inside of you. You need to activate it and bring it to the forefront, and no one can take your power away from you as long as you always remain true to yourself. That's definitely a lesson I can stand by. A lot of things I said in this analysis can be argued that I'm reaching or digging in too deep, but hey, that's why I relate to Baby Doll. I'm a daydreamer, my imagination is crazy. Remember, her imagination only represented what was going on in her reality. What if I'm functioning the same way? The way I view this movie may be my imagination, but it could also represent what's really there. You just haven't looked at it that way yet. There's girls and action, but there's so much more you can get by peeking through the blinds and revealing the wizard. Take what I've said if you made it this far and give the movie another watch with the ideas and analysis that I put forward. Tell me I'm a completely wrong whack job in the comments below. Tell me you've seen the movie in a new light, or tell me you've always seen it like how I see it. Overall, start a discussion. Voice your opinion. Be true to yourself in the comments below. And most importantly, don't stop dreaming. Until next time, see you later, Space Cowboy.